Happens. We're now going to move into our table topics. We have a topics master who will explain what it is for the guests here and also give you the topics to talk on and hopefully guide you through the process. So without further ado, to explain everything table topics while we're moving the table, please welcome to the stage Stephen.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, guests, other members. So yes, this is Table Topics. This is the improvised section of the evening. I don't know about other members, but when I'm sitting and waiting, thinking that I might be called up for a topic, the thing that I think is, please may it be something that I know about. I thought, as we will only have 2 sessions throughout the summer, we should make this interesting. So I can tell you now that you do not know anything about what I'm going to ask you about. I took inspiration from Chris Evans' breakfast show, which I recently figured out I've been listening to for 20 years. One thing that he does is he has a short story competition called 500 Words, where people can submit micro stories of just 500 words. And what I've done this evening is, in my little Mickey Mouse Halloween basket, I have little slips of paper which have the opening sentences of some example stories. I'm going to ask you to read out the opening sentences, and if you could give a little nod to our timekeeper when you finish those opening sentences. And then I would like you to make up a story with the opening that you've got. Now I was feeling generous, so I have taken stories from the 7 to 9-year-olds group. So I thought it would be interesting, after you finish telling your story, I will tell you what the original story was all about. And we might get a little insight into the imaginations of 7 to 9-year-olds. So I'm going to call your name out, so then if you could reach into the bucket, read out the opening sentences, and then give a little nod to Costa. If you don't, I will wave at you, Costa, as I have them here. And then you will have between 1.5 and 2 minutes. So the green light will come on at 1 minute, the white light will come on at 1.5 minutes, and then the red light on at 2 minutes. And then if you could try and wrap up as quickly as possible. I think that covers everything. So the first person to try this evening, she looks quite excited. She doesn't look excited anymore. It's Toastmaster Doris Roy. Please ignore if it's scrawled out there. I had a slight printing issue.
Okay. Can I read it out to everybody?
Yes.
Charles is grumpy and unsociable. His fur is matted and turning grey in patches that sticks out in random spikes, giving him the appearance of a startled hedgehog. He hasn't let a comb near him for months. Charles is so grumpy. He woke up this morning after going to bed listening to the Ashes result. If he had looked in the mirror, he would have seen himself resemble not a hedgehog, but the 1970s punk rocker, somebody by the name of somebody that I cannot remember. And what did Charles do as he stumbled out of his bed, having heard the Ashes result the previous night? Can you imagine? Can you think what was going through his mind? that gentleman there. Yes, Mr. Paul Hickson, the cricketer, reporter, who thought he knew everything about the Ashes, how he screwed it up when he was asked to report on the game. Here he was, coming back from Australia. That report that Charles had heard the night before was totally, well, not totally, slightly misleading. England did not quite win the test by as much as the team thought. So there was still more suspense to come. You're all waiting, aren't you? Waiting with anticipated breath how a 9-year-old child could come up with the final result of this story. I'm sorry if I have to end there.
So in the original story, Charles was a grumpy cat and saved the narrator, who was a baby, from an attack by a Siamese cat. There you go. Right.
Doris's was better.
Next up, please welcome to the stage Toastmaster Peter Parker.
Alice's house had a problem. Things moved by themselves. Thanks, James. She thought her little brother Jack was moving her things, but it wasn't Jack. He was only one. She noticed her colouring pencils first. They moved from the desk in her bedroom when she went to school. Someone had drawn a picture of a ballerina. The ballerina looked like Alice. So Alice had a black bag that moved by itself, which I borrowed this evening actually. And the ballerina was a long lost great auntie who was haunting the house and telling Alice to raise her game. Telling her to get out and enjoy her life. Get out there and make a real human being of yourself. So Alice grew up petrified of ballerinas. She wouldn't go to the ballet. She wouldn't even entertain it on TV. Even though her parents and her aunties and her uncles all loved ballet, she wouldn't do it. But one day she turned round and she grabbed hold of her fears and she said, "You know what? I'm going to break this fear. I'm not going to live in fear anymore. I'm going to go to ballet school." So Alice went out to ballet school and she trained and trained as hard as she possibly could. And then one day she had a big break. She was 22 years of age, which is quite old for a ballerina, but she was going to be on the West End doing Swan Lake. She wasn't doing the lead role, but she was going onto the stage at the West End. She had broken her fear of being scared of a ballerina. Things had stopped moving around her house, so there was no more poltergeist. A great, whatever it was, auntie, had said yes, she did the job. So Alice became a ballerina. And then eventually, at the age of 25, with hard work and more work, she became the Swan in Swan Lake. So she achieved the ambition, got rid of her fear, and became one of the world's top ballerinas.
Thank you, Peter. So that original story, there was the ghost, and Alice let the ghost borrow her ballet shoes, and the ghost learned to ballet dance.
Oh.
Oh, I'm glad it was so good. So, next up, please be welcome Boam to the stage.
the super sausage dog had a day off, his sausage sense started tingling, letting him know that perhaps things weren't going to be so straightforward after all. Okay. This super sausage had a dream. He wanted to be a nice dried red sausage. It's a French flavor, maybe German flavor. He couldn't decide. So he needed to choose some kind of herb to put into himself. So he decided to leave the home and looking for the herb which will be suitable for him. On the forest, he found some green herb, looks like a parsley. He tasted a little bit. This is maybe giving punching flavor. And Lake District, he found some kind of looks like a black pepper, but it's not quite a black pepper. Tastes very nice. This one will give a spicy recipe. Put into his pocket. And carrying on up to the Edinburgh, he found a whiskey factory. Maybe I add some alcohol into meat, maybe my meat flavor will go away. Let's do it. We took it. And on the way, he dropped a Newcastle. What can I do in this area? And he went to the seaside. He found a very fine, very tasty salt. Maybe add some salt on it. It would be great. And when he came down in Oxford, he found a nice cover, transferred tube. I can put myself in it. Take this one for my coat. And he took it. And he came home and told his mom, I found this gradient. Can you make me nice, tasty, and beautiful sausage? And her mother helped. And then he finally reborn 3 months later. And he could pick it by French merchant and hang on the wall with the other friend in South France Avenue somewhere. And he was enjoying lavender field and some flowers.
I'm so glad that one got picked out. It's called Boam's Restraint. The original story, there's a supervillain called Evil Orange who takes over the world, and eventually the Pineapple Police arrest him with the help of Super Sausage. Next up, if you haven't been put off by so what's happened so far, please welcome to stage Dave.
Thank you. One purple day, the purple woodcutter sneaked into the Purple King's forbidden purple forest. Okay. So, the purple woodcutter had his purple axe over his purple shoulder, and he snuck into the Purple King's enchanted, hidden purple forest. The reason being, the purple trees there were incredible. So straight, so tall, not like the regular purple trees out in the normal forest. So he thought, I'll sneak in there when no one's purple looking and take one of the king's purple trees. So he took his purple axe and he swung, crack, and he swung, crack. And he was so busy with his purple axe cutting his purple tree with his purple chunks flying out, he didn't notice the Purple King's men were coming into the forest and he hadn't seen them. The tree was just about to go when he felt a great purple gauntlet on his shoulder. What are you doing in the Purple King's forest? The poor man petrified. He couldn't say a purple word, but they dragged him off behind the horses in handcuffs back to the purple castle. The Purple King had him brought to him, and he was down on his purple knees. "What were you doing in my forest?" "Please, sir, I need to feed my purple children, and the only way to do it is to use the purple wood from the purple woods." He says, "That's purple disgusting. Those are reserved for making the purple throne. There's no way we're going to have to throw you into the purple prison." So the two purple guards took him by his hands and thrust him down the purple stairs and down into the purple dungeon. The purple jail keeper had a purple key and opened the purple door to the purple prison, and the door creaked open. They grabbed him by the scruff of the purple neck, and then they said, "Indigo!"
He's trying to find out on the list. He's struggling.
I just made all that up. I was standing at the side thinking, I don't remember that story. Maybe I cut and copied it wrongly.
Go through the your stories.
So, yeah, the purple story has originated by Hedgehog. May well win in the 89-year-old Hedgehog. Next, one of our guests this evening has said he is willing to take part. So, please welcome to stage Thomas.
So, in theatre in London, under the red velvet seats, lived a mouse. This mouse lived in a delicious diet of ice cream, Smurfs, toffees, and lost popcorn. Okay, so in the London's theatre, there was that mouse, and she always picked up the food the audience dropped, right? So, and she actually wasn't alone. They had like little empire. The whole mouse from whole London came to that theatre because they knew that it was a great place to get the treats. And so that mouse, they had to earn their reputation from picking up those bits. And it was a very important day that night because the queen of that empire, she decided to do competition within the mouses, and she said, okay, whoever picks the most delicious treat and with biggest amount will become the head of the chefs inside the theatre empire. And so this mouse went around the seats under, and she found that one bit of popcorn. But actually this was a very mysterious flavor, and actually it was brought inside the theatre by a kid. And the kid wasn't allowed to bring the popcorn inside, but they had a special one. No one ever found it before. So she took it and she hid it somewhere. And in the end of the story, when it came in a day and they got rewarded, she picked up the popcorn out of her pocket, and the queen decided to name her as a chef of that mouse empire in a theatre in London.
I think we can agree that's maybe the hardest part of the Toastmasters journey, is to do that first time up on the stage. In the original story, the mice and his friends live in the theatre, A new cleaner comes in who's too good, so they clean up all the things and the mice and his friends have to move away because there's no food to eat anymore. But then after they've moved, the cleaner realises the cleaning's much harder because she hasn't got the mice friends to help. Have we got time? That's time? Okay, so we had 5 speakers tonight. Can I have a timekeeper's report?
Certainly. Doris was 219, Peter 152, Bowen unfortunately 245, Dave 141 and Thomas 223.
Okay, so just to give you a little summary, Doris spoke about Charles watching the Ashes. Peter spoke about Alice the Ballerina. Bowen, who unfortunately you can't vote for, spoke about super sausage. Dave told us his own unique tale about purpleness. And Thomas spoke about the mouse in the theatre. So at this point I will hand you back to our Toastmaster. We've got to play that.